Welcome back to Captain of Industry. My name is Nilaus, and today we're going to talk about advanced logistics and how to solve a bit of a problem that everyone has when playing this game, and that is the trucks are just all over the place, doing way too much, and just using diesel, using maintenance way too much, and therefore sort of putting a strain on your base. So that's going to be the main topic. We're also going to be working on expanding and maturing the base, but that's going to be the main part, and I'll explain how it works as we go in. So thank you very much for following the series, and I have a ton of fun with this, and I really love this game, and I think it's a very good challenge and very rewarding when you build something cool like we done the last time. Like, this is a really cool build. It's even cooler when I unpause this. I just wanted to get a little bit of sort of our excess cement in there, but they are now in there. Yeah, so it's really rewarding, but of course it's not the most popular, unfortunately, but that's beside the point. We are enjoying it, you're enjoying it, I'm enjoying it. That's all it needs. Cool. So let's talk a bit about something I mentioned last time. Now, what is actually going to happen, or what is the problem mainly? So what I've done here is I have set up different locations. There's for coal, coal, coal. These two are simply going to be just sent out into the base. If these two are connected, if I only had, like, for example, this sand, I can mark this as forced empty, because forced empty will not put it back in here. It used to sort of just go in a loop here, and it doesn't do that anymore, so it kind of knows that don't put it into here. But if I did the same on this one, it would put it back into these two, and that's not a good idea. Let's see where it goes. Thank you for proving it correctly. So that is obviously not going to work. How the hell are we going to do that so we make sure that we don't sort of shuffle things around? And the same as if I force this out, then, well, actually I don't need to force it out, but if I'm forcing this one out, then I could sort of just be forcing it into some other location. It could actually force it into this one, which is absolutely not what we want. And therefore, they can just generate a lot of back and forth traffic. It's also why we have here, we have coal is sometimes not going so well, because sometimes now we have got down here the way we are mainly mining coal, but when we mine a lot of dirt, then what happens is that they won't necessarily go here, but they'll go somewhere else to unload the dirt. For example, here we're seeing also sometimes with the iron part that we can barely keep up, and it's really weird why we can't keep up, because I have 6 trucks and they should be just going back and forth here, but it's just barely keeping up. So this is where it comes in. So what I want to do is I want to say these 6 trucks that are here, they should not, as you can see here, there they are, there's 3 of them. What are they doing? If you're going over for fuel, that's fine, but you're not actually. You're going all the way over to this location just to drop off a little rock, a simple rock. And then where are you going after? Dropping off 1 rock there. Then you're going to go, for absolutely unknown reason, you're going into that one and put in some dirt in there, and then you're going to go back. So this is what we need to solve that problem, and we solve it with the advanced logistics. So what we're going to say is we are going to export from anything in here. All of these trucks that are assigned, they will be exporting to that one, and that one. Now, what the hell does that mean? That means that anything that can be put into one of these will be put into here. So that means there is no chance ever that it will go if it has something like the one we just saw. If it has just a little bit of dirt, then it will no longer go over to that dirt over there. Thank you for that. There's another tag here where it says accept assigned only. For example, if I click this, as it is default clicked on, that means if I have another iron location, then that will not put into here because it is assigned only. So that's something you want to avoid, or at least be careful about. Now that's basically what we need to do here. And if I do the same thing on this one, and I'll be taking this part here because I have this multiple locations. I'm going to build it there, and we'll just fire this up. So you will be taking export, you'll be exporting rocks, dirt, and copper ore in there. Anything else can go somewhere else. But if we get some of this, for example, this will now be going in here to one of these locations. This also means that now you sort of put a gate. Think of it like a fence around this point. So you basically say, okay, these ones here, they're only going to service this area, consisting of going from these locations, the excavators, and then into these storages and that one, and nothing else. Anything that goes from the outside of this for the rock part or for the dirt part will then be handled by all of the available to assign, the 24 here, whereas 18 of those are idle. And if we go up to click this one here, then maybe we'll see some blue ones like that one, for example. That's going a hell of a long way from where you should be going. So let's also do the same thing here. You're going to say, we are going to export, and you're going to go there, 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 there. That's it. That's all it takes. And every single one of these locations will be marking. All the mining locations will be doing this. And the last one here, you'll be marking that one. And then, funnily enough, now I can do this. And I can force these to be emptied because they were not emptied before. And if I'm looking at this one, I will force this to be filled up. There we go. And now they will be brought in here, but they will not be brought in by any of the vehicles that are now assigned here. They will only be servicing the excavator and those two locations, unless there's something that isn't a part of this. So for example, if this one picks up some rock, then it can go to any rock location, but it can't go anywhere else. So that's super important as well. High of sand. Yeah, so we can't get rid of sand. Why can we not get rid of sand? So that means if we dig up sand over here, which is kind of annoying, then if only we had like a way to drop things off like manually and magically out here. We're probably going to get sand at some point, but right now let's just put the sand in here. And here is also another option that we can do. I'm going to build this. So what we don't want to do is we don't want our dedicated sand. We don't want this one to dig up the beach, put it in here, get it shunted into the next one, and then brought over to this location only to be thrown in the water. That kind of sucks. So it needs to do something else. So what we can do is we can take from here and take export route and say, you're only allowed to go there. Actually, you're also allowed to go into that one. But now we have the question. This is now only accepting the assigned ones, which means right now it cannot go from this loose storage to here because they're not assigned. So I would have to uncheck this one assigned only to allow that to come in. Or I would have to say, you can also export to that location. So now this can only go in here and this excess can go into that location. But that's not really what I want, right? That's not really what I want. I actually wanted to go over here and then just be dumped out. Done. Easy. But I want to make sure that it doesn't accept any other locations because that would be, well, honestly, a bit of a nightmare. I will, however, let's see. This one is not really where I want. I don't want this one in because I don't like this route here. I want to try to avoid making things too locked between different locations because that's going to be a little bit concerning. What we can do, and for example, down here, I'd like to make sure that we dump things in this location. So if we build a vehicle depot here, that's how we control this location. Let's just make it here in this corner and upgrade it. That will now get an edit area, and you're going to get this area here. Great. And I'm not going to put anything. I'm just going to say, what are you allowed to dump? That seems reasonable, what you're allowed to dump here. Then I can take this one, for example, and then I can mark you and say, you know what? I want you to be dedicated to going to this mining location, which means it'll dump out on that location. I also have one working here. They are just digging out this area, basically just flattening it. And where do you want to go? Well, I also want you to be going down here so that is anything we grab from this, any dirt, rock, slag, and waste from here, then will also be dumped into this location instead of just being sent, I don't know, into this location, for example, because this one is just like excess dirt from the mining operations. Cool. I hope that makes sense. What we're going to do, and probably should have done that a little bit earlier, is we need to upgrade these because this is getting a little bit of problematic whether we don't have enough water for all of our crops. So when that comes to the logistics part, you can also pair up things here. They have to have sort of a, let's see. This one can also pair up, but it's, I don't know. That's try to avoid it. I try to avoid it too much. For example, you could do a dedicated line, so saying from this one, this will service, for example, the iron input and the copper input for coal, and then the other one will service something else. You could even assign some resources here if you wanted to, but I think it's a little bit too excessive for what we need. Here now we can mark these, and the only thing here is this one should notify if it's running full. Look at that. Look how much easier. Just this little change has now done all we need in terms of these are now idle waiting. Great. And our transport is so much more stable. 17 are idle. 26 are idle in total. That's very nice. And we still have a base that's operational because we're still working on these upgrades here. So now we also have option for getting water in on the side. So let's just smash some water in. Yep, we got some water in here. What is the average consumption here? This is 38, so it's going to 1, 2, 3. We're going to need a little bit more than we'd like at this point. And I think I'll put it here, because I might want to grab it this route. That one? Yes. It was off. That one's off. And this will be water. Good. Do I want... This is a storage 2. We're starting to work on the storage 2. And then I will get some water barrels. Some here. One. And... I don't know if I like this, because then I can't get past this location. 4. That's enough. And I'm going to take these 2. Flip it. And go in here. That is enough, because each of these can take 48 built. I'm gonna get let's just get level 2, and we just power this up here. That will give us a little bit more food security here and in. Luckily it recognizes the directions here. I hope. I guess. And that will also be built. There we go. That is done. And obviously this is the wrong one, so I'm going to upgrade. This doesn't really cost us anything to do this upgrade. Basically just making it on site here instead. There we go. So that's probably enough. I'll build a little bit more of the good pipe. There we go. So that's only the last part. That's pipe level 1. So that gets us a little bit more food security. We are okay on food, but we're also going to start upgrading our resources again. So we're working on ship weapons and ship armor. Once we have that, we can start expanding further out. And just to draw a little closer on what we're going to do next is I will need to make better food than this, because this will be our super diesel production, but our science is not progressing fast enough. We also need steel smelting. That's another one we really want, because steel smelting gives us access to yeah, well, not really a lot. It gives us access to the next construction parts. So the next thing we want to build in this base is the steel. We just had to wait for it to be done. We also have ship weapons and armor. So let's also upgrade our ship there, and that one. Oh, what? Really weird. What happened? Oh, right. We can I build? Yeah, okay. And then I can go. So that's 360 iron and 80 mechanical parts. Let's get it in there and then be fine. Okay, we can't store all the potatoes after harvest. That is not a concern. We will eventually get the next thing. So what are we going to do when it comes to steel? Well, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to do a blatant copy and paste here. So this is going to be just like that. That is going to be exactly the same, going in here. And then we just need to do the one thing that's different, and that is here. That will be going into the oxygen caster here. The oxygen is getting that location, and that location, and that location, and that location. We could flip them somehow, but I don't care. I don't care. That's fine. And we'll then get into a metal caster. No, and cool caster. That's so cool, that caster. And that's going to be right there, which then makes it all aligned. And that's aligned, and that is aligned, and that is aligned. Perfect. We got our ship armor is now researched, so that's good. Then all we need to do here is hook these up. That will get the cool caster, and then we should have another weird thing here. I wonder where that is. What is it called? I'm gonna have to find oxygen in here. Oxygen, there. It's made in an air separator. I'm just clicking it. That's so cool that you can click it there. It's so ridiculously cool that just like, oh, okay, just click it if you need it, then just click it. Cool. And that will also be going into a little box. Box. Well, it's gonna go into one of these. There we go. Here, and that goes in, and that goes in. The rest will be a monstrous amount of smokestacks, but releasing nitrogen into the atmosphere, don't think that's a problem. These are already have 4, so we'll build more here. Yeah, we could consolidate them, but that would mean more pipes, and pipes are a little more precious than that. And we'll go with this part. And we also need water here. Water is going to be a little bit tricky from this location because we're kind of running a little bit low on water. This is going that way. I don't think this can support the water, but we're going to go anyway. And that will go into this location. And then it'll go one down. And in all the way in. And we start from here. Good. So that's that done. This will only give us 48 steel, so that's not a fantastic amount, but it is going to be what we can get away with right now. That one. Okay, fine. I know I could flip it, but I don't feel that these kind of things are worth optimizing for. Here. That one. And I'll start from these locations and go up. That means it gets the right sequence. There. That's it. That's really it, isn't it? I guess we just build it. I'm pretty sure we can't build all of it, but let's do some meaningful way of building as much as possible. And let's just build the rest. Wow. A lot of it got built, actually. Huh. Okay, so the rest will just be marked as built. And they will be built sort of eventually. At least we're getting in here. Then we also need to make sure that there is... Oh, right. So it actually copied... When you copy this one, you also copy the logistics connection. Well, now you know. And no more potatoes to harvest, that's fine. Fuel supply has low water. Yes, that is not a big surprise because that's the water also going in here. So now that this water also has to be filled up, then that means there's going to be a less in here. So what I can do is I can take this water going around and then feed it into here. It's not ideal though, because... Yeah, this is very important to go in here. So here is an interesting little conundrum, challenge, prospect. We are now getting 0 electricity. Oh, we don't have electricity. So much for me finishing my sentences. Nope. We are going to make a transformer and smack it right in here. That is... How could I forget that? Anyway, when we get this, we get +1. Here we have a flu mild, and it's going to be a little bit of a problem because we're not getting enough water inbound, because this one is just a little trickle coming in. And then we'll now have to go upwards, and also I pointed this way because if I don't have it, if I run out, if my waste is full and let's also make this one upgrade, and my waste is full and I'm not getting enough water in here, well, you know what's going to happen? Cholera is going to happen. That's less than ideal. So actually, instead of having the storage here, I should actually have the storage here. I think that's much better. Yeah. This one can be optimized. Right now, we're just leaching from this part over here, which will drain that area. But that's kind of how it is. Let's have a look back at our steel production, how that's coming along. Where these middle ones are probably going to need some help to get in there. But it's coming, it's working. Funnily enough, we're not able to keep up with both of these two. That's actually not a big surprise. So we'll just get one more of those in. There, one more and 2 more trucks. So 3 excavators and 8 trucks just to feed into these two. I mean, we are using a lot of iron, and the reason why we're using a lot of iron is also because we're going to do this now. Here, and then proceed to get 400 more iron plates. Let's do it so we can get that done, and then just wait for the steel to come in. And so our beautiful steel plant is now working. They are working synchronized here, and obviously we're not going to be able to keep up with all of the iron we need for both of these. You know what we need? We need bigger trucks, and that's going to be one of those things we can get once we get here. Then we can get bigger trucks, larger vehicles. They will require glass, but there is a way for us to steal our way to glass if we want to. We've also done over here. We have built our heavily reinforced ship now, and we'd like to get some crew in. We're actually missing 6 crew somewhere. We'll turn you off, I guess. So that means this turns off. Okay, that's not a problem. And then we can send you out into the world and figure out which of these pirates do we want to knock out first. The reason why we want to knock out pirates is because behind some of these pirates there are some wheat seeds, and that is what we need. So let's take it from the lowest level. This is a low level, 70. The other one was 170. We have 190 attack score, so we can beat the 170, but we'll take a beating. So that's yeah, something to keep in mind, and that will go out there. We'll also see here if we can request 2. We can request 2, and then we'll just see once we get a little more workers, then we can enable this again. Aside from this, I have built a little bit of pipe spaghetti. Basically what I do is I take the overflow here, which can both overflow into this line up here, but it can also overflow into our water facility, because water facility is pretty much the most important one. If we don't have water and we have full waste, then cholera will happen, and that's not a good thing. We also have a buffer here, so basically I can't rely on this to generate enough water for our water treatment, so we're supplementing with this one, but it's going to be just those things. And we're going to go back, and we are going to click here, and we got, I mean, that was a little bit lucky, wasn't it? Perfect. Wheat seeds. That means we can actually start working on this in the next episode. Great. And also, well, I think next episode will be about an offshore oil platform and some chemical plants as well. As we progress into more of these things, we have the advanced fuels. We can get at least something going. Although we would like to get both into, let's see, where is it? I think there's something in here that we want to get. Or is that even further down? Electrolysis. I think the no, there's something here. Salt production. I don't know. There's something we want to get. There, reforming, cracking, hydrogen production, naphtha processing, those are the ones, but they're really deep in here, so we need to build an intermediate step first. With that, thank you very much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed it, and as you can see, our base has grown. We have now steel. It's coming on the bus as well, and we are ready to go into the next part, which will, well, let's see in the next episode what that will be. Thank you for watching. Until next time, take care, and remember to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, pledge on Patreon, hang out on Twitch, and stay effective.